Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I'm your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. And it's Wednesday, February 2nd, the closing bell. Apologies, 18 minutes late. Waiting patiently as our co host as we go over today's market report as we get closer to tip off, face off, and all that good stuff. Last night, I clearly spoke about the stench games that have befuddled ECSI for a while. Games that absolutely look like the wrong team's favored. Games that the sharps will take the wrong team favored. Thinking Vegas knows something, and the publics jump in on what looks like the cheese, and they come running home. Whether it was Providence last night, plus 3.5, box to wire win at St. John's, or Davidson, +3 at St. Bonnie's, box to wire win there. And there was a handful of others that I talked about. That's the way the NCAA has been. And our eyes are trained to look and read the market a certain way. We're always adding, we're always subtracting, we're always doing what we need to do to stay up on top of this. But it's just crazy when their head scratches. Last week, two games, Northeastern and NC Wilmington. Northeastern, 3-point favorites at home against an NC Wilmington team that was undefeated in conference and on a 10-game winning streak, box to wire. And then they were 4-point favorites against them 3 days later and beat them again. It's just crazy. But Calgary, saving grace on the pucks, down 3-1 late in the third, score 3 unanswered in the last 5 minutes to pull a 4-3 win there. And the biggest upset in the history of the NHL is the Coyotes plus 500. I think the closing line was at Colorado, win in overtime. So it's comical. But without further ado, let me bring in my co-host. Let him have some fun here. The man with the plan from the Palm Tree State himself, the one, the only, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Good afternoon, Scotty. Sorry about the delay. I got on the call with an hour before our show. I got transferred 4 different times. I got escalated to a supervisor, then a manager, and I got the same old BS that I got 11 days ago. And I need these people for my 2 or 3 week stay in Vegas, and it's just BS. If you listen, as a business owner, okay, and as someone that has worked in a lot of businesses, and you understand this yourself, if you don't have customer service, you have nothing. So you got to put the right people in place. They got to listen. They got to show some empathy. They got to understand. I'm not saying the customer's always right, because we know that's bullshit. Okay. But you got to listen. You got to show some empathy. You got to do some work on your end, and then at least try to resolve the problem.
Well, you sound like you had a fun phone call.
Oh.
Yeah, that seems like a lot of fun to me.
And in between shows this afternoon, we had our weekly Wednesday afternoon cross the border with Andrew McGinnis at Wager Talk, and I have in the studio, I have the Don Best screen to my left, and so in that short 2-hour time, there was 58 notices and alerts, so they did their job at least. But anyways, tonight's card, tonight's menu, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 NBA games, a boatload of college, hockey last game before the break. I talked to Andrew about some Olympic stuff as well, but the stage is yours. Anything you would like to bring up, anything you'd like to talk about, anything grab your eye, or is this pass?
No, there's a couple of games that caught my eye today. There's one that I liked, and then I backed off of it because the numbers are changed to disfavor. Memphis is a good basketball team. They're playing New York today. They're only -2. Now it's bet up to -4. My number came out to 5. So I'm going to leave that one alone. I thought that the Dallas game is interesting because OKC's been playing halfway decent here lately, and that's a big number, and it's getting bet up even more. And Porzingis isn't playing. So I decided, okay, well, I kind of looked at that one and I said, well, my number says 9. I'm going to leave that one alone too. But I did choose 2 other games, and one of them I'm a little nervous about, but I played it anyway. And that's Denver tonight. Denver plays at Utah. Everybody knows Utah is a tough place to play. It's the crowd there is just obnoxious. The team plays really well at home. All of that stuff. But the interesting thing here is Utah is off of a road trip, 5 games. They're not playing very well. I think they've lost 5 in a row, something like that. Anyway, their troubles stem from 2 things. One, anytime that Gobert doesn't play in the middle, they struggle. And guess what? He's not playing tonight. And they also have Donovan Mitchell not playing tonight, and they need him to play as well. So he's not playing. So they're shorthanded playing against Denver, who's been pretty hot. Now, they played last night, got beat, but I think Denver can win this game outright. And the betting market seems to think that this is a rebound spot or a nice spot for Utah. So I like the idea that Gobert's not there, Mitchell's not there. I'm going to take the 3.5 points and take Denver. One interesting thing here that I pulled up on a nice chart. Utah, if you look at their data numbers, their expected win total right now is 56.7 wins. I don't know how you get 0.7 wins, but whatever, it is what it is. And Golden State and Phoenix are the only 2 teams better based off of their data than what Utah is. However, over the last 2 weeks, they rank 25th in point differential, 21st in offense, 23rd in defense, and 27th against the spread. They're minus 6.8 points against the spread. And that just tells you the struggles that Utah is having. And I suppose that all teams kind of go through this a little bit when they play 82 games like this. So if you're going to bet against Utah, you want to bet against them when they're having their doldrums. And in my opinion, they're having their doldrums. So I'm going to take Denver tonight plus the points. The other game that caught my eye was Brooklyn against damn Sacramento. And I'm playing Brooklyn tonight minus the 4.5. My number is more like 8.5. And when I pull these numbers up and I kind of look at them from a perspective of the AF4, which is the adjusted 4 factors, and these are the things that really decide basketball games. And if you look at them on the road, Brooklyn is the number 2 team in all of basketball, and we've been talking about this for a little while. Is Kyrie Irving doesn't play home games, but he does play the road games, and you put him with Harden, and they're a pretty tough out, and they're a pretty tough team. Now they don't have Durant, which makes them a little weaker, but at the same time, they're playing Sacramento tonight, and Sacramento's having a rough go of it. They're actually one of the teams that are on the bottom of the list right now. They rank in the last 2 weeks, Jeff. They rank 30th in point differential. And there's only 30 teams in the NBA, so they can't get much worse than that. And they rank 28th in offense, 30th in defense, and against the spread, they're 30th. They're allowing 126 points per game. I mean, it's just retarded. Anyway, so Sacramento's having some issues. So I like Brooklyn on the road today. I'll take them minus the 4.5, and I'm going to take Denver plus the 3.5. And then the other game that I was looking at that originally caught my eye was the Lakers against Portland today at home. But looking it up, Davis is a game time decision, and LeBron James probably isn't going to play. So that steers me away from that game. So there's my NBA stuff.
I think I saw on social media today, and don't quote me on this, but I think someone posted that Utah is 0 for 11 their last 11 home games against the spread. Do not quote me on that. The other thing on the Denver side was the Joker, whether he was playing or not. I guess he was.
Yeah, he was 50%. Game time decision yesterday's game time decision today.
All right, so keep an eye on that. And listen, if he is not playing and Utah jumps to 5 or 6, don't go running to the window or vice versa, because we know how that translates. So now to the code. And I like to say the code because that's what it's been. It's been Da Vinci's code. And I talked at length yesterday about the stench plays. You either had to go all in or against them, and they just keep rolling in. And so I was trying to pick out a few stench plays tonight, or just read the board. There's already an afternoon game going off, and probably one of the biggest disappointments this year in college is the Florida Gators, and they were 6-point favorites today at Missouri, and they're currently down 3, of course, late into that second half there. But I will go over the board quickly here, and if Scotty can hop on over to pregame, we'll see if we see any conflicting information, or we can read this board properly tonight. Battle of Rams, 7 o'clock start. Rotation number 675, 676. Rhode Island at Fordham. Rhode Island opened at 3. It's skyrocketed to 5. 71% of the bets, 88% of money on the URI Rams.
Yeah, this is showing 61% of the money is on Rhode Island. 54% of the tickets is on Fordham.
It's a high public game. I would lean Fordham plus the 5, maybe sprinkle in a little beer and pizza. You're probably getting them around plus 165. This game blows my mind here. 679, 680. St. Louis at George Mason. St. Louis opened up -1. Now it's a pick or -1 on George Mason. 68% of the bets, 52% of the money on George Mason, Scott.
Yeah, it's showing 64% of the money on George Mason, but 51% of the tickets on St. Louis.
I lean St. Louis. I lean at that opening number there. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. I would lean the Billikens. You can get them right now +1 or at a pick. This is an ugly game, and I'll just pre-warn everyone, this is not your Temple Owl team that we knew and loved way back in the day, and East Carolina is East Carolina. A game where Temple opened up -1.5. Actually, East Carolina opened up at a pick. Temple now 1.5 favorites. 82% of the bets, 80% of the money on East Carolina.
Yeah, this shows 61% of the money on Temple and 71% of the tickets on East Carolina.
So conflicting information, because if you're reading the wager talk, there would be reverse line movement here on Temple. So it's conflicting information. I would stay away there. Drake at Indiana State, 683, 684 on your rotation number. Drake opened up at 3, now 4.5. 54% of the bets, 77% of the money on the Drake.
Yeah, 75% of the money, 84% of the tickets on Drake.
Drake, again, is not last year's Drake. That was a covering machine. I would, again, a big public play on Drake. I would lean Indiana State here, plus the 4.5. You probably get them at around plus 155, 160 on the money line as well. This game's interesting to me. Rotation number 689, 690, Florida State at Clemson. Clemson opened up 3.5, now 2.5, 72% of the money, 72% of the bets, 92% of the money on Florida State. A line to me that smelt from the get-go, meaning why in holy hell is Clemson favorite?
Yeah, this shows 87% of the money, 77% of the tickets on Florida State.
This is the eyes always tell me Vegas knows something here, guys. Clemson opened up 3.5-point favorites, but in comes the public chewing up all the Florida State money. This is stench number 1, where initial read here is Clemson's going to win this game, but the way this is going, Florida State and the public will prevail here. So stench game number 1 would be Florida State plus the 2.5, plus the 123 on the money line. Rotation number 691, 692, Notre Dame at Miami. Notre Dame coming off a thumping at home to Duke. Now travel to Miami, having a pretty good year there, the Hurricanes. Opened at 5, now 4.5. 53% of the bets, 57% of the money on Miami.
It's showing a lot bigger number. It's 73% of the money and 81% of the tickets on Miami.
So there's actual reverse line movement on Notre Dame. Notre Dame plus 4.5. Keep an eye on that one. Another big public game today, 693, 694. Pittsburgh at Wake Forest. Wake Forest had a real nice year. 71% of the bets, 95% of the money on Wake. Yet they opened at 13, now 12.5. So if Scotty gives me the same information, there's reverse line movement on Pittsburgh.
This is showing 87% of the tickets, 87% of the money on Wake.
So there's reverse line movement on Pittsburgh. Interested on the numbers you have here. Rotation number 695, 696. Bradley at Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa opened at 3.5, now 4.5.
Yeah, this shows 70% of the money is on Bradley. 52% of the tickets are on Northern Iowa.
This is a game. Bradley's been real good to us this year. They've been sneaky. What were the numbers again, Scott?
70% of the money on Bradley, 52% of the tickets on Northern Iowa.
So there's some sharper, heavier money coming in on Northern Iowa tonight, minus the 4.5. I would stay away. I initially would lean Bradley there. These big tickets have been coming in like clockwork. Yesterday, Air Force got pounded. There was a couple other big high numbers, which we usually stay away, but they're coming in like clockwork. Interested to see your numbers here, Scott. Rotation number 697, 698. Tulane at Houston. Houston on a roll. Tulane has been okay this year. 52% of the tickets, 78% of the money coming in on Tulane. Yet Houston opened at 17 and is now 18.
Yeah, this shows 58% of the money, 69% of the tickets on Houston.
All right, so there's conflicting information there. Good game here at 9 o'clock. Rotation number 707, 708. Dayton at VCU. 52% of the bets, 65% of the money coming in on Dayton. The line opened at 4.5 and is now flat 4. So the line is moving in the right direction according to these numbers.
Well, this shows 77% of the money, 78% of the tickets on Dayton.
Okay, well, there you go. So Dayton is the play there, meaning that's where the public is. I'd stay away. VCU, tough team at home. Dayton's a good team as well this year. It's a game to sit and watch. Interested at this one, Scotty. Rotation number 709, 710. Missouri State, who has got us a few times this year, at Southern Illinois. 93% of the bets, 100% of the money on Missouri State. Opened at 2, stayed at 2. So a line freeze down to 1.5 at DraftKings.
This is 92% of the money, 76% of the tickets on Missouri State.
So this is an alert for us on Southern Illinois. 710, Southern Illinois plus the 2, plus the 118 on the money line. Rotation number 713, 714, Okie State at Kansas State. 55% of the bets, 87% of the money all on Oklahoma State Cowboys. Yet the line opened at 2 and has stayed at 2, and we have a line freeze there.
Yeah, this got a little conflict here. 53% of the money is on Oklahoma State. 60% of the tickets on Kansas State.
Yeah, that's a stay away for us. 717, 718, Syracuse at NC State. Syracuse has been one of the biggest dogs in the land this year. Yet 54% of the bets, 70% of the money on the Qs. Opened at 1.5, stayed at 1.5. It's at 2 at Westgate.
Yeah, this shows 69% of the money on NC State and 51% of the tickets on Syracuse.
Yeah, to stay away. 10 o'clock start. A big game here in the Big East. Villanova plays and hosts UConn on Saturday. And I just say this right up front. Bad loss by UConn last night to Creighton. Maybe they were peeking ahead. A Villanova team that usually doesn't get caught peeking ahead, but Shaka Smart It's got his team playing phenomenal, and they're home dogs tonight, 721, 722 on the rotation. Villanova, 62% of the bets, 67% of the money. Opened at 4 and is now 4.5 across most of the Vegas Strip.
This is showing 50% of the money's on Marquette, 51% of the tickets on Villanova. So it's like an even split.
I mean, it's a game where I would lean Marquette, the home dog, plus the 4.5, plus the 135.40 on the money line. It's just Big East time. Villanova's just been rolling. They won't be peeking ahead to UConn. It's a game that you really should sit and watch. I have no strong play there. If I had to play the game, I would take a swing at the home dog there. Going to the pucks, we have a flip here, which is astonishing to me. 705, 40, rotation number 49 or 50. Edmonton at Washington. Washington opened up minus 135. Now Edmonton minus 126. 84% of the bets, 90% of the money, all in on Edmonton.
Yeah, same here. 90% of the money, 66% of the bets on Edmonton.
Last night, Calgary was our flip game of the night, and it came through. So if you wanted to dive into the pucks, I would suggest the Oilers minus the 126 and trust the flip. I will say this, whenever ECSI goes against Washington, OV and OG kills us. So just if you trust the flip, Edmonton is the play there. Rotation number 51-52, LA at Detroit. LA opened up at 145, now 131. 58% of the bets are on the Red Wings, yet 65% of the money on LA.
Yeah, I got 75% of the money, 67% of the tickets, all on LA.
And it's reverse line movement. Our eyes would tell us to take a swing at Detroit. We left them on the desk on Monday. If I left them on the desk on Monday, I'm leaving them on the desk again today. But there is reverse line movement on the Red Wings. Calgary, who came back for us yesterday, opened at 290, now 266 against an Arizona team that just somehow, some way beat the Avalanche last night. That's a pass for us. Minnesota at Chicago, rotation number 55-56. Minnesota opened up minus 170, now 158. I talked to Andrew today about this game. We both like the over 6 on this game. Showing 93% of the bets, 100% of the money on Minnesota, Scott.
Yeah, it's showing 93 and 93 on Minnesota.
This last game, I tell you how, if I had to play this game, how I would suggest a rotation number 57-58, Seattle at the Islanders. Islanders opened at 165, now at 207. The under-over opened at 5 and is now 5 at circa over 40 cents and 5.5 under at Westgate and South Point. I'm not going to obviously play the Islanders minus 207. I always suggest trying to grab some plus money on the puck line here. The only problem is it's such a low over under. You know, they're telling you, Circus telling you, they think it's going to be a 3-2 game. I mean, if you're on the puck line, you would have to have obviously a 2-0, 3-1, or 4-1 game there. And Andrew suggested that the regulation, Islanders in regulation, would be the play there. That's the board. That's the menu for tonight. Short, sweet, and to the point. And what myself and Scott would like to do here is we're going to try something here, and we're going to try to do it daily. If not daily, we are going to try to end the show with what we are going to call Webby's Words of Wisdom.
Oh boy, here we go. So this segment's really supposed to be about, you know, life and how it also relates to what we do. And I always hear that you know, people talking about you know, working hard and you know, go out and work out, you know, work harder than the other guy. But you know what? It's not just about working hard. It's about working hard on the right things. You know, don't mistake activity for productivity, because it's not the same thing. More isn't better. Better is better. And that's an important thing to remember. You know, it's focused work that has a purpose, and that focused work must generate a positive outcome, or it's a waste of your time. You're just out there creating activity. You're not doing productivity, and that's the same thing that ties into what we do. So think of it in terms like this, right? What if you're one of these guys that goes out and you just find all these systems and all these trends, and then you track all that stuff down, and you work harder than anybody else to find this database of all these systems and all these trends, and you go through all of those things and you find them, and then you find out that they don't always work, and that they don't always fit the narrative that you're trying to create. So it's the same kind of process here. So what if you're looking at the wrong data? Like in baseball today, you can be looking at earned run averages. You can be looking at pitcher win totals. You can be looking at batting averages. That stuff's not any good anymore. That information is not detailed enough. So you could be sitting here working so hard that you're trying to get all this information and get all this data and all these numbers and all this stuff, and it's just the wrong thing. And you're creating so much activity, but yet your productivity is no good. And that goes for guys like me too, right? So I've been struggling here in the NBA, so I did a little tweak to the system. And what that means is, what if you write all these programs and you spend all this time trying to generate a result, but the result spits out trash? What if you do that? Well, that happens. And you can't use that information because it's a waste of your time. You have to go get the stuff that matters. So what my cautionary terms in today is to take your life and make sure you focus on things that are results oriented, that produce productivity. Don't sit there and waste your time with activity. And I like the phrase that more isn't better. Better is better. So use better numbers, use better processes, use better systems, use better techniques, and you're going to put your time together at most appropriate. And I think that's how you can figure this out pretty quick.
With that, we will conclude Wednesday, February 2nd, the closing bell. I'd like to thank everyone watching and listening on Radio Land, Twitterville, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're following us. And if you're not following us, right on the bottom of the screen, go over to Twitter at EC Sports Invest for myself, or for Scott Webb at Webby20MLB. If you have another second, just run over to YouTube and we can accommodate you there as well. So for myself, Jeff Dawson, and Scotty Webb, we wish everyone a blessed evening. And just to remember this, if you are wagering and investing tonight, always wager responsibly. If you have a problem, just pick up the phone. There's an 800 number there. Ask for help. Why? Because we care. We would like you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. So for myself, Jeff Dawson, and Scott Webb, we bid you adieu, and we wish you the best of luck, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.